Y'all know what we doing. You know what I'm saying? We just chilling and shit, y'all. And there's gaslighters, love bombers, guilt trippers, triangulation, whatever the fuck.
Everyone's heard of
Now we gonna see what's up with the white knight, man. What kind of people is they, man?
With concern, with solutions you didn't ask for. At first it feels like they're helping you, like someone finally understands what you're going through. But that's only the
Oh, damn. No disrespect to go with that.
setup. Because in toxic dynamics, the white knight doesn't just help with problems. They create the problem themselves, just so they can be the one to fix it. They stir up conflict behind the scenes. They chip away at your confidence, then comfort you when you start to fall apart. They'll tell you someone's turning on you, and then offer to protect you from the fallout. They build the fire, then show up with the hose. Why? Because being the savior gives them power. And if you didn't need saving, they wouldn't have a role to play. It's subtle. You don't always see it happening because it's wrapped in care and concern. But their support comes with strings. It's not about you getting stronger. It's about you staying broken just long enough to keep them relevant. And if you start growing, if you set boundaries or solve your own problems, they might withdraw, or turn cold, or flip the script entirely, and make you feel like you're ungrateful for everything they've done. So, how do you deal with it? Start noticing the pattern. Do they step up when things fall apart, or do they quietly push things toward falling apart just so they can step in? Real support helps you rise. A white knight needs you on your knees. So take the help if it's genuine, but don't give up your power in the process. You don't need to be rescued. You just need room to stand on your own. The silent treatment. Silence can be peaceful. It can be calming, respectful, needed. But the silent treatment, that's something different. It's not a pause. It's a punishment. It's what happens when someone uses absence to control you. They don't yell. They don't explain. They just go quiet, cold, distant, unreachable. And they stay that way until you give in. The silent treatment isn't about space. It's about power. You'll find yourself replaying.
There's probably some people that you know, that you hang out with, you know what I'm saying, that have given all these type of, you know what I'm saying, reactions or whatever, and it's still the same. You know what I'm saying?
Everything you said, wondering what you did wrong. You'll feel pressure to fix it, even though you're not sure what it is. And that uncertainty, that's what makes it work. Because when someone refuses to communicate, you're left guessing. And eventually, you stop focusing on your own needs and start focusing entirely on how to get them to engage again. You apologize just to end the silence. You bend. You soften. You tiptoe. Not because it's your fault, but because the quiet is unbearable. And for the person using it, that silence becomes a tool. It says, I control when this relationship feels safe. I control when you feel...
Like, you know what I'm saying? People do this shit all the time, bro. Y'all bet y'all got homies that be acting the same way, family, whatever. You know what I'm saying? They gave in these same type of signs, same type of, you know what I'm saying?
Feel seen. And if I withdraw, you'll chase me. It can show up in romantic relationships.
Say I look like friends. So what else
Even
is
scared? Anywhere someone wants to win without having a conversation. So how do you deal with it? You stop chasing the noise. You name what's happening. You say, if you're upset, I'm open to talking, but I won't be punished with silence. And then you hold your ground. Because communication is a two-way street. And if someone refuses to speak unless they're being agreed with, they're not looking for connection. They're looking for control. Breadcrumbing. Breadcrumbing is when someone gives you just enough attention to keep you hooked, but never enough to actually move forward. They'll send a hey text every few days, react to your story, compliment you randomly, just enough to remind you they exist. But when it comes to making plans, showing up, or committing to anything real, it's always vague, always later, always just out of reach. It's like emotional clickbait. You keep checking in, hoping this time it'll be different. That maybe now they're finally ready to show up, but they're not. They're just dropping another. The goal of breadcrumbing isn't connection, it's control. It keeps you emotionally invested while they stay unaccountable. You get stuck in a loop of anticipation and letdown. And even though you're not being treated well, it's hard to walk away because they never really end it either. They don't reject you. They
Swiffer Power Mop has hundreds of strips.
You know what I'm saying? It's truth, y'all. It's truth, bro. Everything this dude is saying.
I'm very proud of myself in a sense that I have had to level up progressions.
They just stall you, and that uncertainty keeps you hoping, waiting, checking your phone at 2 a.m. because maybe this time they'll actually follow through. Breadcrumbing can happen in dating, friendships, even professional relationships. And it's not always malicious. Sometimes people do it out of fear, insecurity, or just because they like the attention. But the result is the same. You're left in limbo while they keep all the power. So how do you deal with it? You stop.
I got this
chasing
set
the
up.
trail. If someone's interest only shows up in flashes,
Right here.
if they always leave you guessing, you don't need to decode it. You just need to decide it's not enough. Consistency speaks louder than charm, and you deserve more than crumbs. The Darvo method. Darvo is one of the most disorienting manipulation tactics out there. And once you know what it is, you'll start seeing it everywhere. The term stands for deny, attack, and reverse victim and offender. It's a psychological sleight of hand, a way for someone to flip the entire script the moment you try to hold them accountable. Here's how it plays out. You bring up something that hurt you, calmly, respectfully, just trying to talk. Step 1, they deny it. That never happened. You're making things up, or you're being way too dramatic. Then comes step 2. They attack you. They go after your tone, your timing, your past. Suddenly, it's not about what they did. It's about how you brought it up. And then comes the flip. They make themselves the victim. You're not the one who got hurt. They are. They're being attacked. They can't do anything right. They act like your honesty is cruelty. And now, you're the one who has to explain yourself. That's Darvo.
Yeah.
It's not just emotional manipulation. It's narrative control. It turns any conversation about harm into a performance where the person being called out gets to play the hero, the martyr, or the victim. And if you're on the receiving end, it can make you feel confused,
Telling y'all, I
ashamed,
bet y'all got
even
someone in
guilty
your
for
circle
speaking up.
that
You start
has the
wondering
traits of
if you were too harsh,
in this
if
video.
maybe you did come off wrong. You start defending your tone instead of your truth. So, how do you deal with it? First, don't take the bait. If the conversation suddenly becomes all about their pain, their suffering, their offense, pause. Return to your point. Stick to the facts. Say, I'm willing to talk about this, but not if the original issue
actually
keeps getting buried.
If you know the
Darvo
truth, then you
works
know the
when it
truth.
causes
You don't even gotta
confusion.
listen to the video. I don't go off the video. You know what I mean? I'm just. It's like watching, seeing other different types of perspective. You know, I'll say some of them are good, some of them aren't. What they're seeing in that video, or whatever they're saying in that video, I agree with some of, or most of, whatever they're saying. So that's why I got it planned in the video. You know what I'm saying? Because honestly, that one was like pretty most accurate to like than all the video. Because I don't really be, I mean, I be watching some of this stuff. Some of it be like, I be seeing some of it as BS, and then I see some of it's like
every brain glitch you might experience. Alice in Wonderland syndrome.
Yes,
You're walking through your apartment when suddenly
Yes, sir.
your legs feel 6 feet longer. The ceiling is a mile high. The hallway looks like it might not end.
Bro. It'd be hard. It'd be hard to find it. But we gotta see the truth out here. You know what I'm saying? That should be crazy. But I noticed, man, y'all be liking those type of, like, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna low-key start playing more of that too, you know.
Rapid tissue regeneration. So, you're chopping vegetables for dinner and accidentally nick your...
So, see, some of it be BS. Like, I be seeing some of this shit. And I just...
Rapid tissue...
Some of this shit is stupid. But there's some that's like, oh... You know what I'm saying? Hold up. This shit true. Like, be some stupid bullshit, bro. Hold up. How humans got high in every time period. Hold up.
New Golos
Hold
contain
up.
active fruit gum
Let's
energy
do
levels,
some
low
entertainment
fruit,
right
B
here,
vitamins,
bro.
and
I
no
need to
sugar
entertain
added.
myself on this.
The Kia Carnival.
What the fuck?
How humans got lifted in every time period.
Shit,
If you've
bro.
watched our videos over the last few months, then you probably know about people's obsession with obscure chemicals. And typically I'm not this coy with my verbiage, but YouTube's been giving me a real paddling lately, so
Oh
I'm trying
shit,
to be
my
a bit bold. With
boy,
that
my
being said,
boy.
I've
What's
only really
up, bro?
discussed chemicals people are
That's
taking in
straight,
the
homie.
modern day, but human
sir.
consumption of obscure chemicals far predates
He's
even history
manipulating
itself.
someone's
So in this
skin.
video, I'm
Oh,
going to
this
discuss the
motherf-
favorite concoctions of humans
I don't
in
even
every
that see that
time
shit.
and how they use
I
them
barely
to
even
get
saw
high.
that.
Starting
That
in
shit filtered
the
out of
Stone
my
Age.
mind.
The Stone Age is one of the most interesting and mysterious time periods for substance consumption. Interesting because this is where it all started, and mysterious
that's
because
crazy.
of how unknown
This
it
nigga,
really is.
how
We
humans
have a
got
rough
high in
idea
every
of what
time
exact
period.
plants were preferred during this time period, but we don't exactly know when they were first used or how often they were used at all. Some suggest that ancient humans dating back to our ape-like ancestors were using specific plants regularly,
Yes, sir.
although there's rather limited archaeological evidence to support that. And others believe that the recreational consumption didn't begin until much later in human history, like roughly 10,000 years ago, which there is slightly more evidence for. But here's the thing, just because the evidence we have available to us shows that the earliest recorded consumption began around 8100 BC, it doesn't necessarily mean that's where it actually began. That's just all we have proof of. And unlike pottery, stones, or other artifacts, these organic compounds don't preserve well. With that being said, I know you guys come to trust me bro for only the most factual, historically accurate, nothing but the truth type content. No creative liberties or stretching of any
See,
truth.
I just
We're all
see
facts.
this type of
So
shit
with that
just be
being said, we're gonna
entertainment.
focus on the
I don't
consumption
agree.
after 10,000 BC,
I don't
where
think
the
it's.
invention
I'm
of
not
farming,
agreeing
herding, and
all of
civilization
this
likely
shit. I'm just
facilitated the use
I'll
of these
just look
compounds.
at here.
Or I should
Y'all
really
get
just say
entertained
plants.
by
At this
it.
point in time, they're just plants. They're not even. They're just plants. But if you do want to speculate about early use, feel free to drop a comment. I'd love to open that conversation. Okay, so now that we have a framework for the timeline, what were these people in the Stone Age, or at least from 10,000 BC and beyond, getting up to? What were they lighting up? What were they chooching on? What were they fiending for? Well, I'll tell you. For starters, cannabis seeds appeared in archaeological digs dating back as far as 8100 BC in Asia. Now, does that just mean that's when it was used? It's hard to tell because the evidence doesn't suggest that, although it is possible. What we do know, however, is that in China, there was strong evidence for ritualistic use of cannabis by 500 BC, which is obviously no longer in the Stone Age, so we'll touch on that later. What we do have evidence for not only consumption but also production of in the Stone Age is alcohol, specifically beer. By 10,000 BC, the Natufians have mastered the process of making beer. And although alcoholic beverages from this time period were significantly different than what we would consider to be modern-day beer, the resemblance was there. Beer from 12,000 years ago had a rather low alcohol content of only 2 to 4%, and often contained additives such as fruit or honey, and most oddly, varied in consistency, from a clear liquid to a soupy mixture with floating solids and even pastes. Just imagine that. Beer soup with honey and fruit. Interesting. Researchers also suggest that there's a possibility that these people had also domesticated cereals, no, not the breakfast food, the actual grain category, for the specific purpose of brewing beer with them, instead of eating them. As strange as this early beer sounded, it actually served a dual purpose. Not only was it likely enjoyable for the people consuming it, but it also was a great alternative to water, as the alcohol in this soupy mess killed harmful bacteria that would have otherwise made these people sick. And this is going to be a trend throughout all of history, both brewing beer and also drinking alcohol to avoid dirty water. So while people in the Middle East were making beer, what was going on in North America? Well, actually a lot of things. Some of the primary and favored plants during the Stone Age were tobacco and coca. These were of course discovered and used by indigenous Americans, who not only liked their stimulants, but also had a particular fascination with psychedelics as well. Some of the available natural selection of psychedelics include peyote, morning glory, datura, salvia, ayahuasca, and over 20 different species of magic mushrooms. To me, it's no wonder that indigenous Americans were so spiritual. You could be on the prairies foraging for natural goods and come back with a basket full of 20 different types of psychedelic. Insane. One interesting tradition that the indigenous Americans had with tobacco and some of these hallucinogens was nasal administration. Specifically, inhaling tobacco through your nose. I can only assume it must have hurt, but I guess they must know something. One horrified by the Mayans' drug trips and saw it as the devil's work. Which, if you know anything about Mayan history, I don't fully blame them for that, considering some of their traditions. For example, human sacrifices,
Censored, guys. Fake, fake, fake. I'm saying, I ain't trying no restrictions from that nigga video. Oh shit, bro. Should be insane, bro.
One popular Stone Age plant that was used to serve all of these purposes was the coca leaf. The coca leaf was readily available and was easily consumed, primarily being mixed with lime and being chewed until they had a stimulant effect. At that point, they spit out the leaves and chew on them. With some people chewing the stuff, although the exact origins of specific
Grab me some shit.
Remind alternate chemicals date back all the way to at least 10,000 BC, and some people
Know what I'm saying?
tobacco, coca leaf, and a bundle of them. And you can't forget beer with raws. Still have a lot more facts and a much larger variety of instances to cover. The plants we discovered in the Stone Age are still around, but we now have some new discoveries as well. One of the biggest and most impactful is opium. The opium poppy was first cultivated in Southwest Asia and is one of the oldest medicinal plants in recorded history. The first mention of the opium poppy was found on Sumerian clay tablets from about 3000 BC, near the very beginning of the Bronze Age. These tablets were found at the spiritual center of the Sumerians, located just south of Baghdad, and appear to describe the cultivation of the opium poppy, including the collection of the poppy juice in the early morning, as well as the production of opium itself. The Sumerians literally named opium gil, or happiness, a term that is still applied to opium in certain cultures today. Pretty crazy how long this stuff has been around and how influential it was. It likely is one of the most influential plants on this list. Besides opium, archaeologists also discovered well-preserved strands of human hair in a 3,000-year-old burial site in Spain, revealing trace amounts of 3 different alkaloid substances associated with altered states. Now, they don't exactly know what these psychoactive substances were used for, but it is speculated that they were used for recreational purposes. Another huge innovation and entry into the lifted realm was wine. Early wine has actually appeared in Egyptian pictographs, and by the early Bronze Age, the pictographs actually showed the production of wine and beer as well. And they didn't just display it as some crazy thing, they showed it like it was business as usual. This stuff has been around. At the time, wine and other alcoholic beverages were not only used for pleasure, but they were also used for nutritional, medicinal, and religious purposes. Imagine if they advertised wine that way today. In 2600 BC, a Chinese emperor was actually studying the impact of alcohol on the public health. He was curious why people did not live as long as they did before, and one of his people claimed, nowadays people use wine as a beverage, and they adopt reckless and unusual behavior. They devote all their attention to amusement of their mind, thus cutting themselves off from the joys of a long life. Their rising and retiring is without regularity. It's crazy how even 5,000 years ago, alcohol was having a negative impact on people's lives, and today it's still popular as ever. At this time, China was really on some other stuff, because not only were they investigating the impacts of alcohol on the public, but they were also bringing to market some of the most influential medicines of all time. During the Bronze Age, Emperor Sheng Nong discovered a wide range of medicines almost 5,000 years ago. These included the first caffeinated tea and ephedra, which was used to make amphetamines. Emperor Sheng Nong prescribed tea for malaria, rheumatism, and poor memory. Caffeinated tea was also commonly an antidote to poisonous effects of other herbs. Ephedra was a natural stimulant that helped with asthma and was probably used for other things. There's a reason that people still reference ancient Chinese medicine today. Even back in the Bronze Age, they were really on their stuff. Besides the discoveries of opium and amphetamines and wine, there was obviously a ton of development going on with tobacco, beer, and psychedelics. Tobacco was being traded and cultivated, beer production was being improved, and shamans were using psychedelics as a gateway to the other side. Definitely an interesting time to be around. Similar to the Stone Age, all of these substances had similar purposes, with a primary focus on religious and medicinal benefits. Of course, with some leisure mixed in there as well. The Iron Age. At this point, human development is ramping up to full speed. And honestly, a lot of the plants that we've discussed are still very much favored and very much so in use, with the only real difference being the scale of production and cultivation, as well as the documentation of their benefits and use cases. One of the most commonly cited plants that we see in the Iron Age is something you're likely familiar with. It may be something you're enjoying right now, that being cannabis. During this time of history, cannabis use was widespread.
Shit.
Use cases vary drastically,
When I was
and some of them are
blowing that
kind of
shit
funny.
out.
In Mesopotamia, several clay tablets were found in a library that contained references
believe
to
it.
cannabis. Most of these references indicated the plants were used for either magical healing purposes or to drive away evil spirits or even illnesses, which is interesting. On the contrary, over in China, the use of cannabis in medicine was very early in its development. But according to a famous early book on Chinese herbal medicine, known as the Divine Farmer's Matura Medicine, cannabis, if taken in excess, will produce hallucinations, literally seeing devils. On the other hand, moderate use over a long time has benefits. If taken over a long time, it will make one communicate with spirits and lighten one's body. Definitely an interesting interpretation of the plant, and I feel like they were smoking some strong stuff. During this time, opium is also traded among the Silk Road. No, not that Silk Road, the actual Silk Road. And I think one of my favorite pieces of history from this time period is this. In the year 3 BC, there was a drinking contest in Greece that led to the death of 41 people. It is reported that a Greek drinking contest revealed that 41 contestants died of alcohol poisoning. Oddly enough, the winner did not die, at least not immediately. He actually took home prizes which included more wine, but he only lived for 4 more days before dying. Absolutely insane that there was drinking contests in 3 BC, and also the fact that so many people died at the same contest. That is wild. Near the end of the Iron Age, alcohol became the prominent psychoactive substance during the Roman Empire. Catholic Christianity became the state church of the Roman Empire, and since alcohol was often produced by abbeys and monasteries, it became the people's favorite. During this time, we weren't just limited to beer or wine. They also had introduced cider and mead as well. And it was also around 100 BCE when Rome had caught up with Greece in wine production and trade. One interesting artifact that was found in the Iron Age are stones carved into mini mushrooms by the Guatemalans. A set of 9 mushrooms was found that is believed to be associated with the 9 lords of the night and gods of the underworld. One study of these miniature sculptures suggests that these stones may have been used to grind up the mushrooms to prepare them for ceremonial consumption, which is cool, but it's also crazy that they also depicted 9 lords of an underworld on their mushroom carving. They must have been seeing some stuff. It was also at this time when Plato argued that alcohol is a good test of someone's character. Plato argued that drinking with someone is the simplest, fastest, and most reliable way to test someone's character. This is because wine stimulates the emotion, including desires or pleasures of questionable moral worth. So if you want to get to know someone else's character, or even your own character, according to Plato, get drunk. Interestingly, in Asia, the Persian king advised his army to take advantage of their opponent's lack of experience of alcohol to defeat them, and literally used feast and alcohol as a military strategy. The idea was if the Persians were able to provide their enemies with large, generous portions of lamb and large amounts of wine in which they had no experience with, they would become so infatuated with the feast and compelling feeling of this drink that they would be too distracted to even compete with the Persians in accomplishing great things. Definitely an interesting strategy. Chewing coca leaves was still popular as ever in the Iron Age, and they even discovered multiple ceramic figures depicting characters chewing coca leaves from 500 BC. So if you wanted to know how people got lifted in the Iron Age, the Greeks and Romans were literally turning into frat bros, drinking until they died. People in Asia were smoking until they saw the devil, and people in Guatemala were taking mushrooms until they saw the 9 lords of the underworld. I think the most normal thing to come out of this time period and their psychoactive steps until they died. People in Asia were smoking until they saw the 500 BC. So if you wanted to know how people got lifted in the Iron Age, the Greeks and Romans were literally turning into frat bros, drinking until they died. People in Asia were smoking until they saw the devil, and people in Guatemala were taking mushrooms until they saw the 9 lords of the underworld. I think the most normal thing to come out of this time period and their psychoactive substances is Plato's analysis on alcohol. It definitely was a funny time. The medieval era. One of the craziest substances we've talked about on this list is now about to be revealed. Technically, it was used at the end of the Iron Age and at the beginning and during the Middle Ages, but I wanted to add it here because this chemical is just so crazy and so insane. What I'm talking about, of course, is cacao, also known as chocolate. During this time, from roughly 250 AD to 900 AD, there was an abundance of physical and symbolic traces of cacao and chocolate left behind, specifically by the Mayan people. This evidence includes both physical evidence of cacao residue left on vessels, basically little pottery bowls and stuff, as well as cacao being mentioned directly in scripture.
This is bullshit.
Cacao is used for social, religious, and, once again, ritualistic factors, which is interesting. It kind of reminds me of like that live-action Charlie the Chocolate Factory movie, where they're in the forest with the Oompa Loompas, like when you first get connected with them, and they're like having this living connection to the cacao plant. It's basically like that. Maybe that's what it was inspired by. But yeah, the Mayans were loving their chocolate. Around 900 AD, we also see the first mention of coffee in print. This was found printed by a Persian physician in Iran. It's interesting how long it took to get from tea to coffee. So yeah, it's completely so far they're just having the average morning one. And that isn't crazy. Marco Polo.
Get some motherfucking pizza. they want me to heat this shit
The
up.
general legal attitude was that cannabis should be banned despite the fact that it was widely used among Muslim populations.
Man, I should already took out the motherfucking toaster. I mean, this motherfucker.
There was a prohibition on wine and cannabis that involved the death penalty for those who used either. But it's noted that this prohibition didn't stop consumption of the laws of killing and maiming. Although they were trying to get wine and weed, one thing that they were ramping up production of was coffee. During this time, the first coffee trees were being cultivated on the Arabian Peninsula. At first, coffee was used for medicinal and religious purposes, like many chemicals at this time. Funnily enough, the way that it was used for religious purposes was claimed that it would be used to help people
we got space.
during long religious ceremonies, which to me is hilarious because it's like, here, take this. This is going to be long and boring. It's the worst of words. Honestly, video time seems like a pretty chill time. There's a lot of cool innovations like chocolate and coffee, and also some interesting concepts. I would say that the most common
Oh, fuck. However, the uses of the chemicals and plants that we've described so far have definitely taken a change and now have adapted some interesting relationships with different cultures. For starters, in 14 I'm like, bro, I gotta make this pizza good right now, bro. Gotta have the toaster oven now, man. What? I gotta have to be close as fuck. It's ridiculous. I gotta move shit around. Man, bro. Bro, why the fuck does a cable have this bullshit? Yeah.
Required to be licensed. In 1676, the first coffee house opened up in Boston, and believe it or not, it wasn't Dutch. During the 30-Year War, Dutch soldiers kept bottles of what was known as Dutch courage on their belt, which was actually a flask of gin. During these battles, the British actually took note and began doing the same thing as well. Which I don't blame them. If I was in a war that was 30 years long, I think I'd be sipping those.
You got to be fucking kidding me.
Well, in Japan, it was. So yeah, during the early modern era, the legendary combo of coffee and cigarettes was booming, essentially all over the world. And although some people wanted to ban it, there was really no way to go about it, as the trade was booming, and people wanted their caffeine and nicotine back. It's so interesting to see the first discovery of a plant, and then worldwide stores selling a product made from this plant pop up in a matter of 100 years. That's just, to me, so cool. Humans are honestly awesome. That's why I love these time period videos. But we're still not done yet. The modern era. One of the first and most significant events that took place was the London
Where the fuck? Oh my god. I swear, bro. My fucking knives for this shit. Whew. Swear to God, bro. Someone touch my shit. And piss. I can't fucking cook it. Not good, cause shit's not in the same spot as it was. That shit crazy. That shit crazy. Nah, I ain't even gonna make this shit. I ain't gonna waste my fucking time, nigga. Dead ass. I ain't gonna fucking do that shit. Yeah, I ain't gonna waste my time on that. I was trying to make some pizza, bro. Some fucking pizza. But I was trying to pull out the toaster oven, nigga. You know what I'm saying? I was trying to have a pizza, but like one that fucking came out good. Yeah, I was trying to make some of the pizza. I put it back inside, bro, cause I'm like, man, bro, there's like basically this cable, right, on the toaster oven, and then there's like a fucking, like there's some type of fucking like cable shit, and then like it's all wrapped around it tight, and I can't find a knife that I was looking for. Cause like, I can't find the knife to cut that shit. You know what I'm saying? It's like the only way I could get off is with my kitchen knife. I gotta look for that shit, but like later, you know? But now I'm gonna make corn dogs, bro. Cause I'm not gonna waste my time with that shit right now. Fucking hungry, nigga. Yeah, cause usually I'll put all this shit in the fucking fryer. You know what I'm saying? But it's just like bullshit. Yeah. That's the thing. I can't cut this shit. I can't get it off.
In nearly every major category for the past several decades, Texas,
I don't even know why they would add this bullshit. I can't fucking rip it off. I don't know why the fuck they would. I don't feel like trying to rip it off. Then I'm gonna be sitting here like a dummy.
There's even a common view in Alaska that Alaska could be divided in half, and then Texas could be the third largest American state. Anyone counting by number of people, Texas is also warily sat in the shadow of California. The most recent U.S.-wide census in 2020 revealed that at that time, California
Already at 10 battery, y'all.
And correspondingly, when counting the states by the size of their economies,
10% battery. I gotta charge my shit, bro.
California's larger first. But while the gap in size of land between Texas and Alaska can
Appreciate y'all. Appreciate
the
it.
gap in
But
size
you
of
know, man,
people
that's
and
probably where I'm
economy
finna end
between
this
Texas
shit.
and California has recently been narrowing
Yeah,
rapidly because for the past
So, he probably knock out. To be honest.